Few literary works can attract readers like detective stories. Agatha Christie's works, Conan series, or even the successful series, Knives Out, by Daniel Craig. Whether you watch or read, you can always be a detective. To solve the case in your own way. That's why many detective fans are confused by the case of Closed Room. In these cases, we hardly find any clues. The detective can only solve it with sophisticated storytelling tricks. So many people think that the cases in Closed Room are just the creations of detective writers to serve the audience. But it's not like that. In fact, there are some cases in real life with some confusing details, just like in the movies. The story of Isidore Fink's death. He was a Polish man who moved to the US in the 1920s. Isidore opened a laundry in New York to make a living. He only has enough money to rent an apartment in this expensive city. He set up store right below where he lived. At that time, New York was also very famous for many social evils and crimes in the city. So a person like Isidore was always highly alert. He always thought the robbers were all over the city just waiting for the right opportunity. Therefore, even though it is a laundromat, Isidore's apartment is like a secret base. The door was double layered, and the window was protected by metal sheets. In addition, Isidore's quiet personality caused many neighbors to think he was eccentric. They said that he often did not communicate with anyone, only enjoyed himself and his work, and then returned to his room upstairs. The rare moments when he left the house were when he went shopping or returned clothes to customers. One day, Isidore also went to the clothing store as usual. But when he returned, there were many noises and footsteps coming out of his private room. The noise was as loud as a fight. The neighbors heard it, so they called the police. But when the security forces arrived, they found something very strange. The room was still locked with 2 layers of doors inside. The window was tightly closed. There were no signs of the intruder. The only way to get into the room was a small hole in the back. But the hole was narrow and high, so no police could get in. They asked a boy in the area to climb in and unlock the door. When opening the door, the police found the room very tidy, with no signs of a fight. Only Isidore lying on a corner. When they came closer, they saw him dead on the body with 3 bullets. Immediately everyone thought Isidore had killed himself. But when they examined the scene, they could not find any gun, so this is definitely a murder. But this theory immediately lost its persuasion because there was no other fingerprint on the scene. They asked neighbors and they also said there were no gunshots, only screams and footsteps. Another thing that is difficult to understand is the motive of the murder. If this is really a murder, Isidore is a quiet person. He never does anything to anyone. Is this the result of a robbery? Impossible, because all the money Isidore had saved was still in the bedside bookcase. No one searched the room or the laundromat below. So how many theories are there about this strange death? Some people say that the killer hung up a small tray and aimed to shoot Isidore from the outside. But how can he hit 3 bullets directly to the body? There must be some bullets in the head or neck. Some people still think Isidore was shot, but at that time, he could still escape. He ran home, but only had time to lock the door and collapse. This theory is hard to believe, but it is not absurd. There are many people who have been shot even in the head, but still walk and talk normally, until he lost too much blood and fell to the ground. However, this way of thinking does not explain the strange sounds that Isidore's neighbors can hear. Anyway, all the plot of the case has been erased by time. Now, the New York police are trying to close this case and consider it a mysterious case of the city. In the UK, in the city of Liverpool in the 1930s, there was also a mysterious case. This time, it was about a woman named Julia Wallace and her husband, William Herbert Wallace. In September 1931, William was at the Liverpool Kings Club when he was informed by the staff that someone called him. He picked up the phone and heard a strange voice introducing himself, a name he had never heard before. Then the stranger gave him a strange address and told him to come here tomorrow to discuss business. I don't know if it was out of curiosity, but the next day, William did exactly what he was told. He followed exactly what the stranger said, but when he went around the area, he was lost. Just angry, just confused, William asked people on the street, but everyone told him that this address really did not exist. No one knew the name of the stranger on the phone the day before. He immediately returned home, but at that moment he realized his mistake. His house was locked from the inside. Using the door lock, he saw his wife lying motionless on the floor. Blood was all over the floor, and even on the wall. The police came to perform an autopsy and confirmed that Miss Julia was hit in the head with a sharp object. And just like the previous case, the murder weapon was not found. This time even the neighbors didn't hear anything. No one touches all their money and jewelry in the house. With such a difficult situation, the police only know how to track down that stranger. But like what William found, no one knows anything about this man. The history of those who called the club also did not see the specific information of this person in the list. People with the same name or similar voice were also questioned by the police, but no one is a suspect. In addition, they also know nothing about Wallace's. So the investigation force again showed doubt in William. Anyway, he is the one who can approach Mrs. Julia the easiest. It can be easy to create a fake scene. The relationship between the husband and wife is also likely to cause such a terrible crime. Further investigation, there are some very surprising details. The phone call for William that day started from a public phone near Wallace's wife's house. Those who met William when he went to the fake address said that his behavior was strange and fake. He was trying to show that he was really lost and did not know that the address did not exist. Did he want to create a fake evidence? The police gradually felt hopeless during the process of solving the case. So they decided that these evidences were enough to suspect William and arrest him. But after the trial reviewed the evidence again, he was released. A few years later, he was dead. So the lead of the case was completely lost. All the investigators were also shocked. Later, many people still think that William killed his wife. But there is more help from someone else. Some people believe that this is the action of a gang targeting the Wallace family. And no one knows the reason. But it's all just a theory because there is no way to prove it. What do you think about these cases? Is the answer really right in front of you, but the police can't find it? Please leave a comment below so we can know. If you like such scary stories, don't forget to click like and subscribe to the channel. Also click the notification bell to become the first one to watch when we release new videos.